I'm Andrea, 34 years old, and 3 months ago, my own father kicked me and my 8-year-old daughter out of Christmas dinner, in front of 15 relatives, while my little girl was still holding her napkin, waiting for grace. "Leave and never return," my sister said with a smile. "Christmas is so much better without you," my mother added. I didn't beg. I didn't cry. I simply looked at them and said, "Then you won't mind me doing this." 5 minutes later, every single person who had just thrown us out was on their knees, begging me to undo what I'd done. Before I tell you what happened, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy this story. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from and what time it is there. Now let me take you back 18 months ago, the day my husband died. The call came at 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was parked outside Lily's elementary school, watching kids stream out with their backpacks bouncing. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. "Mrs. Outen, this is Mercy General Hospital. Your husband David was involved in a motor vehicle accident. You need to come immediately." I don't remember driving there. I don't remember who picked up Lily. The next thing I knew, I was standing in a sterile hallway while a doctor in blue scrubs told me my husband of 9 years was gone. The funeral was 4 days later. My parents came. My sister Meredith came with her husband Derek. Aunts, uncles, cousins, the whole family showed up in black, dabbing their eyes with tissues. But here's what I remember most clearly. During the reception, I stepped into the hallway to catch my breath. Through the cracked door, I heard Meredith whispering to our mother, "She can't raise Lily alone. You know that, right? Maybe we should talk about having someone else take the child." My blood turned cold. I waited for my mother to defend me, to say something, anything. Instead, Patricia Outen nodded slowly. "We'll discuss it later. Let her grieve first." I backed away silently. Told myself they were just worried, just concerned. Sisters say things they don't mean. At the burial, my father Gerald pulled me aside. His hand was heavy on my shoulder. "Andrea, you need to be strong now. David's gone. Crying won't bring him back. Men," he caught himself. "People don't respect weakness. Pull yourself together." That was it. That was all my father said to me on the day I buried my husband. I didn't know then that this was only the beginning. 3 months after the funeral, the insurance settlement came through. $2.3 million. David had taken out a policy years ago, back when Lily was born. "Just in case," he'd said. I remember rolling my eyes at him. We were 26. Nothing was going to happen. But something did happen. And now I was sitting in a lawyer's office, signing papers, trying not to think about the price tag on my husband's life. The moment the deposit hit my account, everything changed. Meredith started calling twice a week. "Just checking in, sis. How are you holding up?" Her voice dripped with sweetness I'd never heard before. My mother invited me and Lily to Sunday dinners, every single week. "Family needs to stick together," she said. Even my father, who hadn't voluntarily spoken to me since my wedding, suddenly wanted to catch up. The fourth Sunday dinner, Gerald cleared his throat at the head of the table. "Andrea, I've been thinking. You should let Meredith manage your finances. She's good with money. You've always been the creative type." I set down my fork. "I appreciate the concern, Dad, but I'm handling things fine." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Meredith jumped in, voice still honey-sweet. "We just worry about you, that's all. You've never dealt with this kind of money before." "I have an accountant and a financial advisor. David set it up before—" I couldn't finish the sentence. After dinner, as I was gathering Lily's jacket, a frail hand caught my wrist. Grandma Margaret, 85 years old, sharp as a tack. She leaned in close. "Be careful with that money, child. I don't trust anyone in this room." Her eyes flickered toward her own daughter, including Patricia. She pressed something into my palm, a folded piece of paper. "There's someone you need to call. We'll talk more soon." Before I could ask, Lily came running and Grandma shuffled away. I didn't open the paper until I got home. The paper was blank. No, not blank. A phone number. And 3 words in Grandma Margaret's shaky handwriting. "Call Marcus Webb." I didn't call. Not yet. I told myself I was overreacting. Grandma was old, maybe confused, maybe paranoid. 6 months passed. Meredith's calls became more frequent, more pointed. Dad's store is struggling, you know. The construction supply business isn't what it used to be. Mom's been stressed. Medical bills are piling up, just little things. It must be hard sitting on all that money while family suffers. Then came the dinner where everything shifted. My mother called, crying. Actually crying. Andrea, your father is about to lose the store. 30 years of his life, gone. We might lose the house too. My chest tightened. Despite everything, they were still my parents. I can help, I said. I'll lend you 50,000, no interest. Pay me back whenever. Lend? Gerald's voice boomed through the phone. Patricia must have put me on speaker. I don't need charity from my own daughter. I'm not some beggar. Silence. Then Meredith's voice, smooth as silk. What Dad means is, it would be easier if you just signed a few papers. Let me handle the investments. That way we can help the family properly. Together. What papers? Just standard stuff. Power of attorney, asset management. I'll handle everything. You won't have to worry about a thing. Power of attorney. My dead husband's voice echoed in my memory. Never sign anything you haven't read twice, Andrea, and never sign over control of money to family. That's how fortunes disappear. I took a breath. I need to think about it. What's there to think about? Meredith's sweetness cracked, just for a second. We're family. I said I'll think about it. I hung up. That night, I finally called the number Grandma Margaret had given me. Lily was crying when I got home from work the next day. She was curled up on her bed, face buried in her pillow, shoulders shaking. My heart cracked. Baby, what happened? She wouldn't look at me. Nothing. I sat on the edge of her bed, stroked her hair. Sweetheart, tell me. It took 10 minutes of gentle coaxing before she finally spoke. Grandma Patricia said something, when you were in the bathroom at dinner last week. My stomach dropped. What did she say? Lily's voice was barely a whisper. She said she wishes Daddy was still alive instead of you. Because Daddy knew how to take care of me. And you don't. The room tilted. My own mother said that. To my 8-year-old daughter. About me. Baby, listen to me. I pulled her into my arms. That's not true. None of it. Grandma was wrong to say that. I love you more than anything in this world, and I will always, always take care of you. She clung to me like I might disappear. That night, after Lily fell asleep, I poured myself a glass of wine and scrolled through my phone. A cousin I barely talked to had sent me a message. Hey, Andrea, is it true you've been gambling away the insurance money? Meredith mentioned something at the family group chat. Just wanted to check if you're okay. Gambling? I opened Facebook. Searched for the family group I'd been quietly excluded from. Through a cousin's screenshot, I saw it. A post from Meredith, dated 2 weeks ago. Please pray for my sister. She's going through a difficult time and making poor financial decisions. We're trying to help her, but she keeps pushing us away. Some people just can't handle sudden wealth. 43 comments, all pitying me, all believing her. My hands were shaking. Marcus Webb's office was downtown, 14th floor, glass walls overlooking the city. He was younger than I expected, mid-30s, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. When he shook my hand, I noticed the photo on his desk, him and David at a college graduation, arms around each other, grinning. David was my best friend, Marcus said, noticing my gaze. We roomed together at State. He asked me to keep an eye on you and Lily if anything ever happened to him. His jaw tightened. I should have reached out sooner, I'm sorry. I sat down heavily. I don't even know where to start. Start with the power of attorney papers. I blinked. How did you? Your grandmother called me 3 weeks ago. Margaret Whitmore is sharper than people give her credit for. He pulled a folder from his drawer. She told me what your sister's been planning. I did some digging. He slid a document across the desk. Meredith contacted your insurance company 2 months ago. Asked about the process for transferring beneficiary rights. Said she was inquiring on behalf of the family. My blood ran cold. She what? It gets worse. Marcus opened another folder. I had a forensic accountant look into your father's business. Gerald's store isn't just struggling. It's hemorrhaging money, bad investments, poor management. He's about 3 months from bankruptcy. And Meredith? Her real estate business took a hit last year. She owes money to investors she can't pay back. He leaned forward. Andrea, they don't want to help you manage your money. They want to take it. I thought about Lily crying on her bed, about my mother's cruel words, about the Facebook post calling me a gambling addict. What do I do? Marcus tapped the folder. First, don't sign anything. Second, your grandmother called me about something else. Her will. Her will? She wants to change it, and she wants me to witness. 1 week before Christmas, the doorbell rang at 7 p.m. I wasn't expecting anyone. Meredith stood on my porch, designer coat, perfect makeup, a manila folder tucked under her arm. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Can I come in? I didn't move. Lily's doing homework. This won't take long. She pushed past me into the living room. I closed the door slowly, buying time. What do you want, Meredith? She set the folder on my coffee table. I want you to sign these. For the family. I didn't touch it. I already told Dad no. You told Dad no. She tilted her head. You didn't tell me no. I'm telling you now. No. Her smile flickered. Andrea, I'm trying to help you. Help me? By telling everyone I'm a gambling addict? Her face went blank for half a second. Then the mask slid back on. I never said addict. I said you were making poor decisions, which you are, sitting on $2 million while your family drowns. Your poor decisions aren't my responsibility. Excuse me? I offered to help. Dad refused. Now you want me to hand over control of everything? That's not help. That's theft. Her voice dropped. Cold. You don't know what you're doing. You never have. You married David and got lucky. That's it. You're not smart. You're not capable. You're just a widow with a windfall. I felt Lily's presence before I saw her. She was standing in the hallway, homework folder clutched to her chest, eyes wide. Meredith saw her too. She adjusted her expression instantly. Lily, sweetie, Aunt Meredith was just... I heard what you said about Mom. The silence was deafening. Meredith grabbed her folder and walked toward the door. At the threshold, she turned. Christmas dinner. You'll be there, and you'll bring the signed papers, or don't come at all. The door slammed. 3 days before Christmas. My phone rang at 6 a.m. Dad. I answered against my better judgment. Hello? You're coming to Christmas dinner, not a question. Good morning to you too, Dad. Don't get smart with me, Andrea. You'll be there. 7 o'clock, Grandma Margaret's house. I was already planning to come. Lily wants to see Grandma. A pause, then. And you'll sign those papers Meredith prepared. I closed my eyes. Dad? This is not a discussion. His voice hardened. This is not a request. You will sign those documents, or you won't set foot in this family again. You're threatening to disown me over money? I'm telling you to do what's right for once in your life. David carried you for 9 years. Now it's time to carry your weight. David carried me. 9 years of partnership, building a home, raising a daughter, supporting each other through every struggle, reduced to me being carried. I'm not signing anything. Then don't bother showing up. We don't want you there. Does Mom know you're saying this? He laughed bitterly. Who do you think told me to call? The line went dead. I sat on the edge of my bed, phone in my hand, heart pounding. Lily appeared in my doorway, rubbing her eyes. Mommy? Who was that? I forced a smile. Just Grandpa, baby. Go back to sleep. Are we still going to see Grandma Margaret for Christmas? I thought about the envelope Grandma had slipped me at our last visit, the one she'd whispered about. Open it when you need strength, she'd said. I thought about Marcus's warnings, about the papers in that manila folder, about everything I stood to lose. Yes, sweetheart. I pulled her into a hug. We're going. I knew it was a trap. I just didn't know how deep it went. Christmas Eve. Grandma Margaret's house. I went alone, leaving Lily with a neighbor. Some conversations aren't for children's ears. Grandma answered the door herself. 85 years old, spine straight as a ruler, eyes bright with something I couldn't name. I knew you'd come early. She ushered me into her study, closed the door, locked it. Grandma, what's going on? She crossed to an antique desk, pulled open a drawer, and retrieved a thick envelope. cream-colored, sealed with wax. Take this. She pressed it into my hands. Don't open it until tomorrow night. At dinner, you'll know when. What is it? She smiled, a sad, knowing smile. Insurance. The real kind. Grandma, you're scaring me. She took my hands in her papery ones. Andrea, I've watched my daughter and granddaughter scheme for months. I know about the emails. I know about the power of attorney papers. I know what they're planning to do to you tomorrow. How? Patricia accidentally forwarded me an email chain, mother-daughter gossip. They forgot I know how to use a computer. Her eyes hardened. They called you easy pickings, said you'd crumble under family pressure. My throat tightened. I've lived 85 years, Grandma continued. I've seen greed destroy families. I will not let it destroy you. She squeezed my hands. Tomorrow night, they will try to humiliate you into signing. They'll do it in front of everyone, so you feel trapped. What do I do? You stand your ground. And when the moment comes, she nodded toward the envelope, you open that. What's inside? Her smile returned. This time there was fire in it. The truth, and something they never expected. The envelope felt heavy in my pocket all night long. Okay, let me pause here for a second. What do you think was in that envelope? A. Grandma's new will? B. Evidence of Meredith and Mom's scheme? C. Something completely unexpected? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what you think. And if you're hooked on this story, if you need to know what happened at that Christmas dinner, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps more than you know. Now, back to Christmas Day, Christmas Eve night. I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, envelope tucked under my pillow like a childhood secret. Grandma's words kept circling, something they never expected. My mind drifted to memories I'd buried. I was 8, Lily's age, the first time I realized my parents favored Meredith. She got piano lessons, I got hand-me-downs, she got praise for B's, I got lectures for A-minuses. Meredith tries harder, Mom always said. You just coast. Grandma Margaret was the only one who saw me differently. She used to pull me aside at family gatherings, press butterscotch candies into my palm, and whisper stories about the house. This old place has seen 3 generations of Whitmores, she'd say. One day, it'll belong to someone who truly loves it, not someone who just sees dollar signs. I always assumed she meant Meredith, the perfect one, the successful one. Now I wasn't so sure. The house itself was worth nearly $2 million, a colonial revival on 3 acres, built by my great-grandfather. Everyone knew Grandma would leave it to family. The only question was who. Meredith had talked about it for years. When Grandma passes, Derek and I will renovate, turn it into something modern, maybe sell it if the market's right. Grandma had overheard that conversation once. I remembered her face, tight, hurt, quickly masked. A soft knock on my door. Mommy? Lily's voice, sleep thick. I can't sleep. Can I stay with you? I pulled back the covers. She climbed in, warm and small. Mommy, are we really going to Grandma Margaret's tomorrow? Yes, baby. Even though Grandpa's mad at us? I kissed her forehead. Grandma wants to see us. That's what matters. Lily was quiet for a moment. Then, I love Grandma Margaret's house. It feels like a hug. A hug. That's exactly what it felt like. Christmas morning. My phone buzzed at 8 a.m. Marcus. Merry Christmas, he said. I have something for you. You're working on Christmas? This couldn't wait. His voice was tight. Your grandmother forwarded me an email last night. The original chain between Meredith and your mother. I sat up in bed, heart hammering. What does it say? I'm reading it now, dated April 15th, 2 weeks after David's funeral. He paused. Andrea, I need to read this to you. Are you sitting down? Yes. Marcus cleared his throat. We need to move before she gets smart. You know how pathetic Andrea is. She'll believe anything if we frame it as helping the family. Dad's store is the perfect excuse. My stomach turned. The plan is simple, Marcus continued. Get her emotional, isolated, make her feel guilty for having money while we struggle. Then present the papers as a favor. She won't even read them. She never reads anything. I couldn't breathe. Timeline: pressure through summer, escalate in fall, close the deal by Christmas, family gathering, maximum witnesses. She won't say no in front of everyone. Silence. Andrea, you still there? They planned this. My voice sounded far away. Since April. Since 2 weeks after your husband's funeral. I have the full chain, timestamps, everything. He paused. I've printed copies, 3 sets. I can be at Grandma's house by 8 tonight. Tonight? Your grandmother suggested it, said you might need backup. I thought about the envelope under my pillow, about Grandma's knowing smile, about 15 relatives who would witness whatever happened tonight. Marcus. Yeah? Bring everything. I hung up. This afternoon, I would walk into my grandmother's house carrying 2 weapons, the envelope she gave me and the truth. They wanted a Christmas dinner performance? They were going to get one. 4:30 p.m. Grandma Margaret's house. Lily held my hand as we walked up the cobblestone path. The old colonial glowed with warm light, every window flickering with candles. Wreaths on every door, the smell of roasted turkey drifting from the kitchen. Picture perfect, like a Christmas card designed to hide the rot underneath. We were among the last to arrive. I counted cars in the driveway, 15, maybe more. Every aunt, uncle, and cousin within driving distance. The moment we stepped inside, Lily broke free and sprinted toward the living room. Grandma Margaret! I watched her disappear into my grandmother's arms, the old woman's face cracking into a genuine smile for the first time all evening. Then Meredith appeared. You made it? Her voice was honey-sweet, but her eyes were assessing, calculating, looking for weakness. I forced a smile. Merry Christmas, Meredith. Let me take your coat. She was playing hostess already, even though this wasn't her house. Everyone's in the dining room. We saved you a seat. I handed over my coat, but kept my purse. The envelope was inside. The dining room was packed. A long mahogany table stretched the length of the room, set with Grandma's fine china. Crystal glasses caught the candlelight. Laughter and chatter filled the air, but I noticed the looks. Cousin Rachel glanced at me, then quickly away. Uncle Tom whispered something to Aunt Betty. My mother's best friend, Margaret Ann, gave me a pitying smile. They'd been briefed. I scanned the room for my parents. There, at the head of the table, Gerald sat like a king awaiting his court. Patricia beside him, dabbing her lips with a napkin, refusing to meet my eyes. And next to them, an empty chair, waiting for me. Andrea, sweetie? My mother's voice rang out. Come sit, we've been waiting. The meal started normally enough. Turkey was carved, wine was poured, stories were exchanged. I kept my head down, cut Lily's meat, helped her with her vegetables, tried to breathe. Then halfway through the main course, Meredith stood up. She clinked her wineglass with a fork. The room fell silent. Everyone, I hate to interrupt, but I have an announcement. Her voice carried, practiced, theatrical. Our family is facing a difficult situation, and I think it's time we address it openly. I felt every eye in the room shift toward me. Meredith continued. As most of you know, my dear sister Andrea lost her husband David 18 months ago. A tragedy for all of us. Murmurs of sympathy. A few nodded solemnly. What you may not know is that Andrea received a substantial insurance settlement. Life-changing money. Meredith paused for effect. And we, as a family, are concerned about how she's managing it. My hands clenched under the table. Lily looked up at me, confused. We've tried to help her privately. We've offered guidance. But Andrea has refused to listen. Meredith's voice cracked perfectly, a rehearsed waver. So today, in front of everyone who loves her, I'm asking my sister to let us help. To sign a simple document allowing me to co-manage her finances. She pulled a folder from beneath her chair, the same manila folder she'd brought to my house. It's for her own good, for Lily's future. She looked directly at me, eyes glittering. What do you say, Andrea? Will you accept your family's help? 15 faces turned toward me, some pitying, some expectant, some already nodding, convinced I was the problem. Lily whispered, Mommy? At the head of the table, my father crossed his arms. At the far end, Grandma Margaret sat perfectly still, watching. waiting. I stood up slowly. Every eye in the room was on me. I could feel the pressure, the unspoken expectation that I would crumble, apologize, sign whatever they wanted just to make the discomfort end. No. The word hung in the air. Meredith blinked. Excuse me? I said no, I'm not signing anything. The room went absolutely still. Someone's fork clattered against a plate. My father's chair scraped back. He rose to his full height, face reddening. You don't get to say no. Not to family. Not after everything we've done for you. What have you done for me, Dad? Tell me. What exactly have you done? We raised you, gave you everything. And this is how you repay us? By hoarding money while your own family suffers? My mother finally looked at me. Her eyes were cold. Andrea, you've always been selfish. Even as a child, some things never change. I offered to help, I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. I offered Dad $50,000, no interest. He refused. Because it was insulting, Gerald slammed his palm on the table. China rattled. You have millions sitting in a bank account while my life's work collapses and you offer me scraps? Meredith stepped closer, voice dripping with false concern. See? This is what we're dealing with. She doesn't understand money. She doesn't understand family. She needs guidance. She needs a keeper, someone muttered. I didn't see who. Lily had started crying silently. Tears streamed down her face as she watched her grandfather scream at her mother. Only Grandma Margaret moved. She reached over and pulled Lily into her lap, shielding her, but she said nothing, not yet. Sign the papers, Andrea. My father's voice was iron. Or get out of this house. I looked around the room. Not a single person spoke up for me. My father pointed at the door. Out, you and that child, right now. Meredith nodded, arms crossed, satisfied. You should leave and never come back. We've tried to help you, Andrea. God knows we've tried, but you're beyond help. I looked at my mother, my own mother, waiting for her to say something, anything, a single word of defense. Patricia smoothed her napkin, then looked me dead in the eyes. Christmas would be so much better without you here. It always has been. My lungs stopped working. Lily's sob cut through the silence, raw, heartbroken. She was 8 years old, and her grandmother had just said the world would be better without her mother. Cousins shifted uncomfortably. Aunts looked away. Uncles studied their plates. No one spoke. No one defended us. It was the loneliest moment of my life. I reached for Lily, ready to scoop her up and run, ready to leave and never look back. But then I felt Grandma Margaret's hand on my arm. Wait. Her voice was quiet, but it cut through everything. She was looking at me with something fierce in her eyes. Something that said, not yet. And I remembered the envelope in my purse. Her words from the night before. You'll know when. This was when. I straightened my spine, looked at my father, my mother, my sister. Okay, I said calmly. If you want me to leave, I'll leave. Relief flickered across Meredith's face. But first, I pulled out my phone. You won't mind if I make one quick call. Gerald scoffed. Calling the police? This is a private family matter. Not the police. I dialed. Put it on speaker. 2 rings, 3. Marcus, it's Andrea. I need you here, now. Bring everything. Already on my way. 5 minutes out. I hung up. Who the hell is Marcus? My father demanded. I smiled for the first time all evening. You'll see. The room erupted. What is this? Meredith's composed mask cracked. Who did you just call? A friend? You don't have friends. You barely have a personality. She turned to our father. Dad, make her leave, now, before whoever this is shows up. Gerald took a step toward me. I said get out. I didn't move. 5 minutes. You've waited 18 months to take my money. You can wait 5 more minutes. His face went purple. How dare you? Gerald. Grandma Margaret's voice sliced through like a blade. Sit down. The room went dead silent. My father stared at his mother. In 85 years, I don't think she'd ever spoken to him that way. Mother, this isn't your concern. This is my house. Grandma rose slowly to her feet, still holding Lily's hand. My table. My Christmas dinner. and I will decide who leaves and who stays. But, sit down. Gerald sat. Grandma turned to the room, sweeping her gaze across every relative. I've been quiet tonight, watching, listening. I wanted to see how far this would go. Her voice trembled with controlled rage. I wanted to see if a single one of you would defend my granddaughter. Shame flickered across some faces, others just looked confused. Not one of you. Grandma shook her head. She offered help. You refused it. She said no to manipulation. You called her selfish. You made a child cry on Christmas Day. Mother, you don't understand, Patricia started. I understand perfectly. Grandma reached into the pocket of her cardigan, pulled out a folded paper. Patricia, do you remember the email you forwarded me in April? The one about Andrea being easy pickings? My mother's face went white. The doorbell rang. Grandma smiled grimly. That will be Marcus. Let him in. Marcus Webb walked in, carrying a leather briefcase. He was dressed professionally, despite it being Christmas. Dark suit, polished shoes, silver tie clip catching the candlelight. He scanned the room, taking in the hostile faces, the tear-streaked child, the elderly woman standing defiant at the head of the table. Good evening, he said calmly. I'm Marcus Webb, attorney at law. I represent both Mrs. Andrea Outen and Mrs. Margaret Whitmore. Gerald shot to his feet. What is this, some kind of ambush? I'd call it a correction. Marcus set his briefcase on the table, clicked it open. Mrs. Whitmore, shall I proceed? Grandma nodded. Marcus pulled out a thick folder. What I have here is a complete email chain between Meredith Harrison and Patricia Outen, spanning from April of last year to last week. The subject line of the first email reads, he flipped it open. Operation Andrea, a plan for the money. Gasps rippled through the room. That's private correspondence. Meredith lunged forward. You can't. It was forwarded to Mrs. Whitmore. Accidentally, I assume. She is now a rightful possessor of this communication. Marcus smiled thinly. Would you like me to read some highlights aloud? The part where you called your sister pathetic? Or the part where you planned to have her declared financially incompetent? Meredith's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Patricia gripped the table edge, knuckles white. Mother, why would you do this? Because you plotted to steal from my granddaughter. Grandma's voice was steel. You called her names. You told her daughter that the world would be better without her mother. On Christmas. She pointed a shaking finger at Patricia. You are my daughter, and I am ashamed of you. Patricia flinched like she'd been slapped. The room was utterly silent. Marcus reached into his briefcase again. Now, for the second document. Marcus held up the emails for everyone to see. I'll read one excerpt. April 15th, 2 weeks after David Outen's funeral, from Meredith to Patricia. He cleared his throat. We need to move fast. Andrea's always been weak. She'll cave under family pressure, especially at a holiday gathering. Dad's store gives us the perfect cover story. We're not taking her money, we're helping the family. Once she signs the POA, we control everything. She won't even know what hit her. Cousin Rachel's jaw dropped. Uncle Tom leaned forward, face dark. Murmurs spread through the room like wildfire. That's taken out of context, Meredith's voice cracked. I was just worried about her. May 3rd, Marcus continued, unmoved. Update. Told the family group that Andrea's gambling. Plants the seed. When we finally get control, no one will question it. More gasps. Aunt Betty turned to Patricia. You told us Andrea was gambling. Was that a lie? Patricia opened her mouth, closed it. It was strategic messaging, Meredith said quickly. To prepare the family. To manipulate the family, Grandma cut in. To isolate my granddaughter so thoroughly that when you stole her money, no one would believe her. Gerald stepped forward. Now hold on, this is all circumstantial. Email chains can be faked. Marcus pulled out another document. Certified letterhead. Official stamps. These emails were authenticated by a digital forensics expert this morning. Timestamps verified. IP addresses traced to devices owned by Mrs. Harrison and Mrs. Patricia Outen. He set it on the table. Anyone who would like to verify the authenticity is welcome to review the certification. No one moved. Meredith was shaking now. Her perfect facade had crumbled completely. "Andrea, please." Her voice was small. "I can explain." I finally spoke. "I'm done listening to explanations. Can you guess what's in the second document Marcus is about to reveal? I'll tell you in just a moment, but first, if you're sitting there feeling your heart race like mine was that night, do me a favor. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I promise the ending is worth it. Also, if you've ever dealt with toxic family members who only showed up when money was involved, I see you. Comment below. Okay, back to that dining room. Marcus reached into his briefcase one final time. He withdrew a document bound in blue legal paper. Official seal. Notarized signatures. "This," he said, "is the last will and testament of Margaret Ellen Whitmore, executed 3 weeks ago, witnessed by myself and 2 independent parties." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Patricia stood so abruptly her chair fell over. "Mother, what did you do?" Grandma Margaret remained seated, hands folded in her lap, perfectly composed. "I did what I should have done years ago. I protected the people who actually deserve protection." "Mother, you promised—" "I promised nothing." Grandma's voice was ice. "You assumed, Meredith assumed, everyone in this family assumed they knew what my will contained." She smiled coldly. "You assumed wrong." Marcus opened the document, read aloud. "I, Margaret Ellen Whitmore, being of sound mind, hereby bequeath my primary residence at 742 Whitmore Lane, including all land, structures, and contents thereof, valued at approximately $1.8 million, to my granddaughter, Andrea Louise Oughton." The envelope Grandma had given me, I finally understood. She'd given me a copy of the will days ago. Just in case. Chaos. Meredith screamed. Actually screamed. "No! That house was supposed to be mine. We talked about this. Renovations." "You talked about selling my family's home for profit," Grandma's voice cut through. "I listened, and I made my decision." Gerald slumped into his chair like a puppet with cut strings. "Mother, everything we planned—" "Everything you planned," Grandma corrected, "was built on the assumption that I would reward cruelty and greed. I won't." Patricia was crying now, mascara streaking down her face. "You're leaving everything to her? After all we've done for you?" "What have you done for me, Patricia?" Grandma's eyes were fierce. "Besides lie, scheme, turn my Christmas dinner into a public execution of your own sister?" Silence. Marcus closed the will. "Mrs. Oughton," he turned to me, "you are now the sole heir to this property." Patricia dropped to her knees. Right there, in front of everyone. Grandma's antique Persian rug bunching under her as she crawled toward me. "Andrea, baby, I didn't mean it. Any of it. I was just trying to help the family. We were scared. Your father's business. I never meant to hurt you." I watched my mother grovel. The woman who told my daughter the world would be better without me. The woman who plotted for 18 months to steal my inheritance. Gerald stood frozen, mouth opening and closing like a fish. Meredith tried a different approach. She grabbed my arm, tears streaming down her face. Real tears this time. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I was desperate. Derek doesn't know about my debts. If this gets out, my marriage, please, Andrea, please." Cousins stared. Aunts covered their mouths. Uncle Tom shook his head slowly, disgust written across his face. I heard whispers. "I can't believe they lied about the gambling. All this over money? On Christmas?" Poor Andrea. Poor Lily. Lily. I looked at my daughter, still nestled in Grandma Margaret's arms, watching her aunt and grandmother beg on the floor. She was only 8. She shouldn't be seeing this. I gently pulled my arm from Meredith's grasp. "Everyone, please, get off the floor." Patricia looked up, hope flashing in her eyes. "You'll forgive us? You understand we were just—" "I understand perfectly." I kept my voice calm, level. "You lied to the entire family about me. You tried to steal from me. You made my daughter believe I was worthless." "Andrea, I don't need to stand here and watch you cry." I stepped back. "I just need you to know that I see you. All of you. And I'm done pretending I don't." I walked over to where Meredith was still kneeling, crouched down, met her eyes. "Do you remember what you said to me last week? In my living room?" She wouldn't look at me. You said I wasn't smart, that I married David and got lucky, that I'm just a widow with a windfall. I paused. My 8-year-old daughter heard every word. Meredith flinched. You told me to leave and never return. Tonight, you said Christmas would be better without me. I stood up. That's fine. I'm going to give you exactly what you asked for. I turned to the room, to the Yi. I'm not going to sue anyone. I'm not going to press charges. I'm not interested in revenge. My voice was steady, strong. David would have been proud. But I am going to protect myself and my daughter. From now on, there will be boundaries. I looked at my father. He couldn't meet my eyes. You chose money over your son-in-law's memory, over your daughter, over your granddaughter. I shook my head. That was your choice, not mine. I looked at my mother, still on her knees. You told Lily the world would be better without me. A child, Mom, your own granddaughter. I'll never forget that. Lily won't either. Finally, I looked at Meredith. You said I don't have friends. You said I barely have a personality. I almost laughed. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not interesting, but I'm also not cruel. And right now, that's enough. I held out my hand. Lily ran to me, buried her face against my hip. Grandma Margaret rose, came to stand beside us. Andrea, sweetheart. Her hand found mine. I'm so proud of you. I squeezed her hand. Let's go home. My phone started ringing before I even got home. Cousin Rachel was first. Andrea, I had no idea. I'm so sorry I didn't say anything at dinner. I believed what Meredith told us. I should have asked you. Then Uncle Tom. I feel sick. Your aunt and I talked the whole drive home. We're ashamed we didn't speak up. Then Aunt Betty. Then Cousin Mark. Then people I hadn't heard from in years. They told us you were gambling everything away. They said you were unstable, making reckless decisions. I should have called you, should have checked in. By midnight, I'd received 11 phone calls and 37 text messages, not a single one from my parents or Meredith. The next morning, Marcus called. The family network is going nuclear. Your grandmother's been getting calls all morning. People are furious, not at you, at Patricia and Meredith. I rubbed my eyes. I didn't want this. I know, but actions have consequences. He paused. There's something else. Meredith's husband Derek called me. He didn't know about her debts. She'd hidden them. He's not taking it well. I thought about Derek. Quiet, passive, always in Meredith's shadow. He probably hadn't known about any of this. And your father's store? What about it? Filed for bankruptcy this morning, officially. The news is spreading. Some of his regular clients are cutting ties, not because of the bankruptcy, but because of what happened at Christmas. Word travels fast in small business communities. I leaned against my kitchen counter. I didn't want anyone to suffer. You didn't cause this, Andrea. You just stopped letting them hide it. Marcus's voice softened. Get some rest. You've earned it. But rest didn't come easy. Not when I kept hearing my mother's voice in my head. Christmas would be so much better without you. A week after Christmas, Marcus sent me a summary. Gerald's hardware store had closed its doors. 30 years of business, liquidated to pay creditors. He'd have to sell the smaller house he and Mom lived in to cover the remaining debts. Meredith lost 3 major clients. Word had spread among her real estate circles, not about the inheritance drama, but about the family meeting that went wrong. In the business world, reputation is everything. Hers was crumbling. Derek had moved into his brother's apartment. He wasn't filing for divorce, not yet, but he wasn't coming home either. I read the summary twice, then set it down. I didn't feel victorious. I felt tired, sad, hollow. Lily was playing with Lego blocks in the living room. I watched her build a little house, complete with tiny windows and a red door. Mommy? She looked up. Is Grandpa going to be okay? I sat down beside her. I don't know, sweetie. I feel bad for him, even though he was mean. Out of the mouths of babes. I do too. I helped her snap a roof piece into place. Sometimes people make choices that hurt others, and then they have to live with what happens next. Did we make them get in trouble? I thought carefully before answering. No, baby. We just told the truth. What happened after? That was because of choices they made, not us. She considered this, nodded slowly. Okay. I pulled her into a hug. I didn't want to see my family suffer. I hadn't set out to ruin them. All I'd wanted was to be left alone, to protect my daughter, to honor David's memory by building a stable life. But Marcus was right, actions have consequences. And sometimes, the truth is its own form of justice. 2 weeks after Christmas, Grandma Margaret called. I have a question for you, she said without preamble. And I need you to answer honestly. Of course, Grandma. Would you and Lily consider letting an old woman move in with you? I almost dropped the phone. What? I've been rattling around this big house alone for 10 years. Patricia won't speak to me. Meredith won't look at me. Gerald just grunts when I call. Her voice softened. But Lily hugs me like I matter. And you, Andrea, you've never once asked me for anything. Grandma, I can't ask you to leave your home. You're not asking. I'm offering. She paused. The house is yours, technically, after I'm gone. But until then, I don't want to live in it alone anymore. I want to be somewhere I'm actually wanted. My throat tightened. I thought about our small apartment. 2 bedrooms, a cramped kitchen. Nothing like the colonial mansion Grandma had called home for 60 years. Our place is tiny, I warned her, and Lily has nightmares sometimes, and I can't cook nearly as well as you. Andrea. Her voice was warm. I don't need a mansion. I need a family, a real one. I heard Lily in the background, asking who I was talking to. Hold on, Grandma. I covered the phone. Lily, how would you feel if Grandma Margaret came to live with us? Her face lit up like the Christmas tree we never got to enjoy. Really? Like forever? I put the phone back to my ear. I think that's a yes. Grandma laughed. A real laugh, full and bright. I'll start packing tomorrow. For the first time since David died, my apartment felt like it might become a home again. 1 month later. Grandma Margaret's antique armchair sat in the corner of our tiny living room, looking absurdly elegant next to my second-hand sofa. Her collection of ceramic cats lined the windowsill. Her knitting basket lived permanently beside the TV. It shouldn't have worked. But somehow, it did. Every evening, the 3 of us ate dinner together at our little kitchen table. Grandma taught Lily how to make her famous apple pie. Lily taught Grandma how to use video calls. I listened to stories about my great-grandfather I'd never heard, about the house, the family history, the dreams that built it all. The insurance money sat untouched in an investment account, growing quietly. I'd set up a trust for Lily's education. The rest would wait until she was older, until she could decide what to do with her future herself. I kept working my job, kept showing up, kept building something small and stable. One night, after Lily was asleep, Grandma and I sat on the balcony, watching stars. Do you regret it? I asked quietly. Giving up the house? Cutting off Patricia? She was silent for a long moment. No. Her voice was steady. That house was just walls and wood. What Patricia and Meredith did, that was a betrayal of everything family should mean. She reached over, patted my hand. You and Lily are my family now. Real family. The kind that stays. I felt tears prick my eyes. Thank you, Grandma, for believing in me when no one else did. She smiled in the darkness. You didn't need my belief, Andrea. You just needed to believe in yourself. She squeezed my hand. Which you did. That Christmas night, when you stood your ground, that was all you. I leaned my head against her shoulder, and for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. 3 months after Christmas. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered cautiously. Hello? Andrea. My mother's voice. Small, tired, defeated. It's Mom. I almost hung up. Please don't hang up. Please, I just need 5 minutes. I walked to the balcony, closed the door so Lily wouldn't hear. I'm listening. I know what I did was unforgivable. Patricia's voice cracked. The things I said, to you, to Lily, I can't take them back. I wish I could. You told my daughter the world would be better without me. Silence. Then. I know. I was I was so scared, Andrea. Your father was falling apart. Meredith kept saying this was the only way. I let myself believe it because it was easier than standing up to them. That's not an excuse. It's not, you're right. She was crying now. I'm not asking you to forgive me, I wanted to hear Lily's voice, just once. It's been 3 months. I watched the city lights blink below. Mom. Yes? I'm not going to pretend everything is fine. I'm not going to let you hurt Lily again, but I took a deep breath. I'm also not going to punish you forever. That's not who I want to be. What does that mean? It means I need more time. A lot more time. And when I'm ready, if I'm ever ready, I'll reach out. I paused. But the reaching out has to come from me, not you. Do you understand? Yes. Her voice was barely a whisper. Yes, I understand. Okay. Andrea? What? I'm sorry. I'm so, so sorry. I let those words hang in the air, then quietly, I know, Mom. I know. I hung up. I wasn't ready to forgive, but I wasn't consumed by hatred either. That felt like progress. After that call, I started journaling. Just a cheap notebook from the dollar store. A few pages every night after Lily went to sleep. Tonight, I wrote, I used to think family meant accepting whatever they threw at me, keeping the peace at any cost, smiling through insults because blood is thicker than water. I was wrong. Family is not a free pass to hurt people. Love is not supposed to come with conditions. And peace built on silence isn't peace at all. It's just suffering with a smile. My father called me selfish for not signing over my money. My mother said Christmas would be better without me. My sister planned for 18 months to steal everything I had. But here's what they didn't expect. I survived. I survived because I finally understood something David always told me. You're stronger than you think, Andrea. You just have to stop waiting for permission to be strong. I stopped waiting. I stood up. I said no. I chose my daughter over approval, my self-respect over belonging. And somehow, on the other side of all that pain, I found something I didn't expect to find. Peace. A real family. Smaller now, but truer. A home that feels safe. And a future I get to build myself, one day at a time. Grandma's voice called from the kitchen. Andrea, the cookies are ready. Lily's footsteps thundered down the hall. Cookies! I closed the notebook, smiled. There would still be hard days. There would still be moments when my mother's words echoed in my mind, when I wondered if I'd done the right thing. But tonight, there were cookies. And laughter. And the two people who mattered most in the world. That was enough. That was everything. And that's my story. If you've ever had to protect yourself or someone you love from toxic family members, I see you. I understand. And I hope you know, you're not alone. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever had to draw a hard boundary with family? I'd love to hear your story. If you want more stories like this, check the links in the description. And subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for listening. Until next time.